Long-haul trucking on a vast network of expressways that surpasses even the U.S. in length is the lifeblood of China's sprawling industrial supply chains, not to mention the nation's booming e-commerce. Domestic express deliveries last year shattered all records, with nearly 175 billion parcels shipped. But there are growing...
Welcome to Pegasus versus the World, where we take on challenges, comedy, trending topics, and some travel. City boy! City boy! I almost did my other channel's intro on that one. Let's look at this, man. I believe this is about self-driving trucks, but I'm not sure. I am not sure. But I saw this. The future of long-haul trucking is already on China's roads. And I'm curious about this. I have a really good friend who, drives a truck and then has started a trucking company. And he actually hauls gear for huge rock bands like Metallica now, his trucking company. And, I had talked to him about this maybe 3 years ago. I was like, they're going to have self-driving trucks, man. Da-da-da-da. And I don't know how it will disrupt his industry, because his consensus was like, it's going to take too long to have that type of technology for it to be safe on the roads in America. And I was like, you might have a point there. It's a lot of weight, big trucks, just running and gunning. However, I heard of this, so I want to peep this. I think this came out 5 days ago. This is on, so you guys can check it out on its own. Bloomberg Television. Bloomberg Television. Go check this out over there. You know what I'm saying? But also, I was watching a travel vlog of this couple who I think they're from Europe at some capacity. They come to America and travel. They were in Vegas and California. In California, they jumped into these taxis, these self-driving taxis that I didn't even know were around. My wife's like, yeah, you haven't heard of those? Da-da-da-da. My friend said they're freaky. And I was like, no way. They have self-driving taxis. So, we're in this it's here, you guys. It is here. It's coming for your jobs, your children's jobs. Like, I don't know how this plays out. The best case scenario is these huge corporations lean in on AI and robotics to do a certain amount of work. And because if your company does not rely, I'm just making this up, this scenario. If your company does not rely on human actual work, then a percentage of the profits, go back to human whatever in America, like a robot tax or something. So like the people who are displaced can still live, comfortably at some capacity. Because I think the smart thing is this. This is what I think, but I could be totally off. And for some of my right-wing friends, they're going to be like, yo, that's some liberal bullshit. But just hear me out. The smarter, like I'm always a work smarter, not harder guy, right? The smart thing to do would technically, instead of having immigrant labor, cheap labor, children working, slaves, just have robots do it. And then the humans benefit. And then it would allow humans to seek their passions or do things. Like me personally, I can't live without working at some capacity, working on something, right? If I had free time, maybe I'd work on my yard, my garden, my music, my whatever the case would be. But maybe the work of robots could allow humans to, live more of a potential, have, better quality of life. However, humans, we always seem to blunder things, right? Overeat, overdo everything. And then knowing our luck, the damn robots just take over because they're like, motherfucker, we doing everything. So I don't know. But I'm just saying. Anyways, let's get into this. This is, man, that's a crazy intro for, anyway, let's see where long-haul trucking's going.
Long-haul trucking on a vast network of expressways that surpasses even the U.S. in length is the lifeblood of China's sprawling industrial supply chains, not to mention the nation's booming e-commerce. Domestic express deliveries last year shattered all records, with nearly 175 billion parcels shipped. But there are growing pains, including a shortage of drivers.
Actually, truck driver is a very well-paid job in China in terms of a blue-collar job. But a young person, they'd rather to do the food delivery, which earn much less, but not to do the trucking job because that is lonely and dangerous.
Today, we've hitched.
It is. It's dangerous, it's lonely, and it's super unhealthy. Living in a truck, typically, you're just sitting there, I don't know if you have the greatest posture, but being able to work out. I learned this because I was always on tour buses and tour vans, driving all over the country, doing concerts. Like, it's really hard to keep up on your health and stuff like that. You can, but it's a few more challenges.
To ride with longtime truck driver Fu Tingfeng on the last leg of his solo 500-mile trip from Wuhan to Shanghai. Normally, such a journey would require 2 drivers taking turns. But Fu, for the better part of a year now, has been driving one of the 3,000 tractor-trailers in China equipped with an advanced driver assistance system from Chinese startup Inceptio Technology, which takes a lot of the driving of the 31-ton rig out of his hands.
When people are visually fatigued, for example when changing lanes, you think the distance between the vehicles is enough, right? Then you turn the steering wheel and it is normal to get a scratch. You can see on the screen that the radar and camera must have reached a certain distance, a safe distance between the vehicles, before it allows the lane change.
Driver assistance technology is facing intense scrutiny in China since a fatal crash in March of a Xiaomi SU7 EV that had its autopilot system turned on. When this ADAS system is engaged, Fu doesn't need to keep his foot on the pedals, as the rig handles acceleration and braking, as well as lane changes and maintaining safe distances. Inceptio has logged more than 215 million accident-free operational kilometers.
There's a lot of congestion ahead.
Lots of traffic.
Yes, but the system can handle all kinds of road conditions. Doesn't matter if there's a traffic jam.
So, regardless of when this technology is going to hit and actually be used, it's going to happen. This is the thing people have to talk about now. You are getting the information to make your pivot. So in business and the businesses I've been in and constructed, there have been moments when I didn't know to pivot because of ignorance, because of lack of thereof, because there was a black swan event like the pandemic. I didn't know, I should have a digital business. Well, I kind of did, but during the pandemic, I have a physical business where you throw concerts and you have people at concerts. I should have had a digital business. Unfortunately, I had to learn the hard way. This is the signs to pivot. If you were a truck driver, if you're driving trucks, this might not be next year. It might not even be in 10 years. But people drive, a lot of people do things for the long haul, right? To go get to retirement. If you're in your 30s and you're driving a truck and you planned on driving into your 50s to retire or 60s, the chances of that, it's time to invest in your self-driving long-haul truck. That's what it's time to do. The shift is here. The shift is to stack your ducats and invest in the technology, because if not, you just get ran over. Anyways, I could be tripping. I'm kind of, but I think I'm giving a little bit of game. This is wild. This is wild because all this is market research. And they're just going to continue doing this. This is, again, the reason I'm here is not because this is happening in China, is because I watched a video on YouTube last night where people jumped inside of a self-driving taxi in California. It's here. I watched it. It was unbelievable. It's kind of scary. Not having control. I'm like, what is going on? But it's here. It's going on. It's only going to advance.
6 cameras, 5 radars, and 1 LiDAR sensor help the truck navigate most hazards, and remote monitoring makes sure Fu is not over-relying on technology. So he's saying the sensor there up at the windshield will tell if he's drowsing off, and then the seatbelt will shake and the seat will shake to kind of wake him up.
The seatbelt will tighten on you. It would even shake loose a kidney stone, just like a massage chair.
Fu's employer, delivery company YTO Express, has 300 Inceptio ADAS-equipped trucks in its fleet and plans to add another 400 this year. At first a bit skeptical, YTO now sees labor costs reduced by about a third and fuel savings of around 1 liter for every 100 kilometers.
It can eliminate some of the dangerous driving behaviors of individual drivers, which reduces risks to our shipments.
For the 46-year-old Fu, he says the advancements may just delay his previously planned retirement from the road.
I can drive this truck without getting tired even after working for more than 10 hours. I have a lot of energy.
Having arrived safely in Shanghai, Stephen Engel, Bloomberg News.
Bro. This is nutty, dog. It's happening, man. You know, we watch all these movies our whole life, and we watch them like it's not going to happen, and now it's happening. And then you'd want to argue that like it's almost like predictive program because we've seen it happen in the movies. We're kind of ready for it, but we're really not. I mean, I knew this was going to happen. I had no doubt. Like I said, I talked to my homie like 3 or 4 years ago about this specifically. I was like, yo, man, just get ready to pivot when it happens. Oh, bro, da-da-da-da. Like, okay, cool. I'm just telling you, dog. I'm just telling you, man. I refuse. I got, so I told you guys about the pandemic. That was the Black Swan event. But the other one was MySpace was popping. I actually started blowing up as an artist on MySpace because I was one of the only rappers in Colorado who did not have an actual day job. I lived off rap, so I could get on MySpace and add friends, which helped more people go to my page, listen to my music, and I got popular because I started getting ranked with national artists, and boom, 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 right? And what happened was Facebook emerged, and instead of me jumping on Facebook, I was like, no, MySpace is the wave, da-da-da-da, and one of my friends in Denver, who wasn't a full-time rapper, I started seeing him rank with me on MySpace. It's like, how the hell did he do that? Now, fast forward now, I wasn't friends with him back then. Now we are friends. He had a bot, you know, a robot or a bot, whatever, and it was bot clicking and doing all the stuff for him. What I couldn't do by myself at my career, adding people, talking to people, organically building a base on MySpace, he could do with a bot, and he surpassed me. Little did I know those bots were the end of MySpace because MySpace turned into a big spam event for music and people got sick of it because they wanted to talk to people. It used to be a cool place. You could find music, you could find chicks, do all this stuff. Well, it became uncool because of the bots. And I didn't understand all this. And I was like, I'm just staying on, I'm Facebook. And anyways, I missed the Facebook wave and fast forward to some other homies. You know, they're more like acquaintances through the industry. They blew up from Facebook. They used Facebook to launch their record label and blow up. And I was still on MySpace. And I finally come over to Facebook and I just missed the party. I missed the wave. And so all these things are learned lessons that I had to live through to learn. So now I'm ready. Like, you know, I use ChatGPT to help certain work things, but I also balance it because it could also make you dumber when you're depending on its intelligence versus yours. It could make you less creative, a bunch of things. So you have to balance it. But you also do not, I'm just telling y'all from experience, don't get hit with the tidal wave of like me missing my opportunity of getting big on Facebook and actually having a rap career that I never really had because this was not the first wave I missed because I was a knucklehead, right? 2, pivot, have other things. One of my good friends, Chris, was always telling me, you need to have a digital business model. You need to go digital with the music. That you already have some stuff here and here with music videos and streaming, but you need to really go digital. And Black Swan event, pandemic happens, and my main company that I've generated most of my money from and through, throwing concerts, was eliminated because of the pandemic. Now, I found ways to maneuver through that time and make it work, and I still throw concerts to this day, but it has never been the same. That industry, as an independent promoter, is shaken and shot. But guess what I did do? I pivoted onto YouTube and created a digital footprint that's actually very relevant right now. So seeing that, I'm just even though there's a part of me that's like doesn't want to take any part of AI. I want to go live in a cabin in the woods and just chill, be human. But it's too important. Things happen too fast, too quickly, and there's a lot at stake. And I have to look at this as, when I say a lot at stake, my family is at stake, right? Like, you can be victim to these things, and then everything is circumstantial for what your family has to go through in the future, or you can be proactive and dictate what's going to happen a little more than, the average. So, anyways, future of long haul trucking. And it doesn't surprise me, because China's a little less unregulated, but they also get to the finish line with certain things faster. And now that they have AI technology popping off, they're a legit, I wouldn't say adversary or threat. I would say competition. They're a legit competition for America, because they're willing to do what, we won't do in America because of regulations, which I think that's a good thing for America to have. But, they might have a little bit of an unfair advantage in certain aspects, because they might reach the finish line on certain things. And the people who master the new technology are going to be ahead of the world. It's just what it's going to be. America and China, if they stay on this path, like, a lot of the world is going to be playing catch up, and it's just what it is. I mean, you'll hey, look, we live in it. I'll come back and retract it if it doesn't happen that way. But I'm telling you, you kind of see the signals and you see the trends. So let me know what I got, yo.
City boy, city boy.